It belongs in a museum.
That belongs in a museum. So do you.
Sup nerds, we're talking about Museum, which is basically Ticket to Ride on steroids.
The core mechanic of this game is set collection. There's no trains though, so don't worry about that part. But you're collecting all these artifacts that you want to put into your actual museum, but all the cards are actually dual use, and you can use them to pay for other cards.
Yeah, they're not dual use, they're
like
multi-use, because you want them for their color or their symbol, and the number up in the top left corner is their points and their cost and their currency. Like, they're all pretty multi-use. Like, when you think, well, only if you phrase it the way I just did.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, there's two uses. Use them to pay for other cards or to be paid for. But yeah, there's so much information of the different sets that you're collecting that make it like set collection on steroids. There's just so many different things to collect, and you're going for like the different civilizations. Like if you're just you want to collect all the Egyptian things, because getting a huge civilization is worth a lot of points if you can fill it in. There's this whole breakdown on like all the different cards that are in a civilization, because there's also the domains, which are like the pillars and these books and the boat steering wheels. Like, I don't know what they really are. There's like the vases. Like, all those are like different in and of themselves, and they're distributed among all of the civilizations. So if you're trying to collect that set, it's different.
Well, also, you can't have the same color in that set. So if you're going for all the same symbol in the top right-hand corner, you can't have two cards with the same symbol and the same color, which makes it really tough. That is a difficult cookie to crack there, especially because you also have special secret hidden goals for endgame scoring. And recently, the last time we played, I had where I wanted to have 3 different domain collections with 5 in each. And that sounds easy, but I kept getting to 4 and finding it so hard to get that 5th, because there are only 6 different colors that symbol is dispersed over. So really 6 is the most you can get, or 7 if you have an expert. So there's these experts, these little cards, they're like bonuses and stuff, little special abilities or bonus symbols you can buy too. So, I mean, barring that, 5 is like almost a perfect set. So it's pretty hard to get those.
So beyond the information at the top of the cards, there's just beautiful artwork, and then some descriptions about the artwork, and it tells you about, you could learn a thing or two like you were actually in a museum, which kind of adds to the clutter of this board. There's a lot. It looks like a huge, sprawling, a lot of information going on, but it's actually a little simpler than they make it look, just because there's like a lot printed on here. They try to add so much theme that it can look a little busy, but it all works. Like, there's the headline, which is like something that happens at the beginning of each round, which is
like an event.
Event. But there's like a newspaper printed on this board, and the headline cards kind of fit right in there. And then when you flip it over to the next headline,
it's like you're flipping a newspaper.
Yeah, so like it's thematic. It may be a little over the top, but like it works. It looks great.
After you've played it, it looks great.
Yeah.
Originally, it looks daunting and busy. Like, so for new players, you'd be like, check out this game, it's real simple, and they're like, whoa, what do you mean that's simple?
Look how big all these boards are.
Yeah, it does take up a lot of table space too. So those are honestly really, though, like my only real negatives is that it takes up a lot of table space, and it is initially a little bit busy, but you do get over it. You do start to, just look out and all you see are the cards after a little while. Those things aside, I really enjoyed the game. I have very few complaints about this game.
No, yeah, there's so much strategy in what cards you actually spend to put other cards into your museum, because everything you spend and use as currency becomes a card that somebody else can purchase.
Yeah,
so
all the discard piles are purchasable.
Yeah, so like I'm discarding one of the what are the 5s called? They're like
masterpieces.
Masterpieces. So I'm going to spend this masterpiece for 5, and now I'm going to put this 4 and this 1 into my museum. But now somebody might want that masterpiece, so they're going to be like, okay, well, here's 5 cost, and they discard it into my discard pile and then take it. Well, they have to give me one of these little points too.
Prestige points.
Yeah, the prestige points,
which are again also points and currency. You could spend prestige points to help with the cost of the cards.
It seems like a lot, but it's not. At the beginning of each turn, I guess we're kind of backtracking here, but at the beginning of each turn, you're going to draft one card from the line, and then every other player has the opportunity to do so. If they do, you get a prestige point for them taking it. But for 90% of the game, you're going to want to do that. You want more cards because you need cards to
pay for other cards and complete your sets, like everything. Yeah, the very beginning we were like,
why would you not do it? The last round we're like, no, I'm not going to do it anymore. Like if there's nothing out there that you want and they're all really low cost, like. But I found myself, looking for a specific card, and I would dig through one pile. Like I don't want either of these cards, but I know there's something in this deck that I want, so I'm just going to take this one card.
Yeah, because you do know the distribution, the colors that are in each card and stuff. It's all in there. But there's even more that we haven't touched on yet. Well, I already said the experts, so there are little special abilities and bonuses and stuff. But as you're gaining points throughout the game, you're also getting to draw these special ability cards they're one-time use. These are more permanent. But these are also really big deals. And
you get them every 10 points.
You get them every 10 points. And there are these public opinion cards that are mixed into the main decks here. So it's almost like semi-incentivizing you to diversify, because whenever a public opinion comes out, then that's a negative point token that we put for that type of card. And if you have any of those types of cards, or for every card of that type you have in your discard pile, it's minus that many points.
Yeah.
So while you may want to dig through that one deck to try and find that one card you're looking for, that one color, or whatever, the more you do that, the more likely you're probably going to pull up a public opinion card. And dang, I've been going through the Europe deck all game, so I have a bunch of those in my discard pile. So wow, now those are all a bunch of negative points.
That's kind of what I was starting to get at with the, you got to think about what you're discarding. So if they're worth 2 or 3 negative points and they're in your discard pile, you might want to spend a turn to pick them up and then spend them into other people's piles to really get dirty and cause other people to have negative points. And I'm like, oh, well, this sucks. I never pulled from that deck, but now all of a sudden I have a bunch of Europe cards.
So this may sound like a lot, and it kind of is for such a light game, for a set collection game. Usually set collections, you're like, okay, we're just going to collect some sets. But this is probably one of the deepest set collection games I've played, at least in recent memory. Mm-hmm. And this is just the base game. There are also already 4 expansions out. And obviously, we haven't played these yet. But we definitely will.
Yeah, because it was a Kickstarter. All of this came out at the same time. They just kept stretching it. And now there's all of these expansions that this game probably will benefit from. Because, I really enjoyed the game. And I was like, I want more. And just hearing about it, adding another player, adding some worker placement.
Adding a black market. There's a lot of cool stuff. I'm very excited. We haven't even opened these yet, but we're definitely gonna.
If you've mastered Ticket to Ride and you're like, oh, set collection's nothing, maybe it's time for you to take another look at set collection, because this game, it makes it fun again. I don't know, right?
Because I don't like Ticket to Ride anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm like, this is just pick up cards and play. Oh, I've got blues and here's some oranges.
There's actual strategy in what sets you collect, and just because you got a green picked up a green card, it doesn't mean it's the green card you actually want, because you may actually be looking for a certain domain in the green. So you're just like, okay, I'm going to use it for money. It's deeper. It's more of a gamer's game, and we highly recommend it.
So if any of what we were talking about in this video sounds interesting to you, or even if it doesn't, we still highly recommend that you click the purchase link in the description box down below, get yourself a copy of Museum. You won't regret it. And while you're down there, another thing you won't regret is subscribing to our channel, so you'll never be bored. If any of what we were talking about in this video sounds interesting to you, or even if it doesn't sound interesting, still, we highly, highly recommend you click that link in the purchase